So today starts part 3 of 3. This is our last day of our final exam review. We're starting with the area of a trapezoid. Yesterday you wrote down several formulas: area of a trapezoid, circumference and area of a circle, surface area and volume of a cylinder. You're going to use those formulas. So it's a matching section on your final, and then as long as you can match them up correctly, you have the formula that you need to solve these problems in the next section. All right, so we're going to review questions that will look very similar to what's going to be on your final. All right, so use this information that I give you here to find the area of the trapezoid. All right, so we start off with our formula. Say it with me. A equals
1/2.
Yes, 1/2 or 0.5 times
B1 plus B2 times H.
Very good. Times B1 plus B2 times the height. Make your substitutions now. And yes, you can use a decimal version. That makes it a little easier. Plug in 15 plus 18 times 10. All right. And at that point, you can plug it in your calculator, or you could simplify what's inside the parentheses and then plug it in your calculator to multiply. And 0.5 times 33 times 10 is what?
1,350.
No.
165.
165. You must have missed something in there. Okay. All right. Any questions? Any questions on area of a trapezoid? Okay. Now let's look at the circumference and area of a circle with this given dimension. Diameter is 26 centimeters. Okay, I want you to decide what formulas you're going to use, make your substitutions, and come up with your answer. What formula would you use for circumference?
Pi d.
C equals pi d. Okay, what formula would you use for area? Pi r squared. Okay, pi r squared. So pi d, yes, because it's diameter, and then pi r squared, that's just my formula for area. So when we make our substitutions, 3.14 times 26, what did you get?
81.64.
Very good, 81.64. Now, the pi r squared, what do you notice specifically about this formula that you're going to need to
Divide by 2.
Yes, it's calling for the radius. You know the diameter, so you have to half it. All right, so it's 3.14 times your radius, which is 13 squared, and you get 530.66 centimeters squared. All right, any questions on circumference and area of a circle? All right, the last figure that we'll deal with is surface area and volume of a cylinder. You are going to need to know height. Sorry. Go ahead and find the surface area and volume of the cylinder. Again, your formulas were given to you yesterday. All right, so surface area equals 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Did you make your substitutions? All right, now, why did I plug in a 4 here? I thought the value was an 8 because it gave me diameter. So you can expect to see that on your final where they give you diameter and you have to half that. If you forget, your answers are going to be wrong. All right, so when I simplify both sets of terms and add them together, I get 351.68 millimeters squared. Who got that right? 351. Okay, any questions, guys? Do you see where you went wrong if you didn't get it right? You see? All right, so now volume. What's my formula for volume?
Pi r squared.
Yes, pi r squared h. So go ahead and make your substitutions and solve for volume. Make your substitutions. And then there's your answer. 502.4. Who got 502.4? Okay, volume I think is a little easier than surface area. All right, so that's it for your shapes. Okay, so now let's talk about probability. This is the thing that should be the most fresh in your mind. Probability is favorable over total. favorable over total. What is my targeted outcome and how many total options do I have? Okay, so what is the probability if you have 20 separate pieces of paper all numbered 1 through 20? What's the probability that you will choose a number divisible by 4? So again, you write in parentheses your targeted probability, and that's favorable over total. So go ahead and try to solve for the first one and then try to solve for the second one. So we have 20 numbers total.
Divisible by 4?
Okay, how many numbers 1 through 20 are divisible by 4?
4.
So 5, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20.
Oh yeah, I forgot 8.
Okay, so if there's 5 numbers divisible by 4, 5 over 20 reduces to 1/4 or 25%. Okay, so fraction or percentage, either one would be acceptable in your final.
Oh, I thought it was impure.
So how would you write the probability for choosing a prime number? I want you to write it the exact same way that you just saw the first one. So our total is still the same. How many prime numbers are there?
6.
8. 1 is not prime. Who counted 1 as a prime number?
Me.
1 is not prime, okay? So please remember that for your final exam. 1 is not a prime number. All right, so that's it for probability. Now let's talk about combinations and permutations. What is the difference between a combination and permutation?
If the
Order matters with which one? Permutation. Order matters with a permutation. So go ahead and calculate the combinations and permutations. So what do you think about the first one? Is it a combination or permutation? Permutation, because order matters. First, second, third, and fourth place. Order matters. So how many total are there? 25. P, and then 4 are being selected for the top prizes. And when you calculate 25P4, you get 303,600. Okay? So really, guys, it comes down to, is it a permutation or combination? Total, enter the letter, and then how many are being selected. So the second one is a combination, 134,596. All right, any questions on permutations and combinations? All right, disjoint and overlapping events. You're going to use the spinner to calculate the probability of A or B, one or the other happening. So both can't happen. So if there are outcomes that are shared between A and B, what do we do with those outcomes? If they're both, we have to subtract them out of the probability. Very good. All right, so go ahead and calculate the first scenario.
4.
I have 5 numbers on there that are multiples of 2. How many numbers on there are more than 5?
6.
Yep, 6 out of 8. How many numbers on there are multiples of 2 and more than 5?
4.
So subtract it out, 7/8. Who got 7/8? Okay. All right. You forgot how to do it? Do you remember now? Okay, do the second one. All right, probability of A or B is what? How many prime numbers are there?
2.
2 and 17. 1 is not a prime number. How many numbers are less than 10?
5.
Any shared outcomes?
1.
1 shared outcome, the number 2. So it's 3/4. Who got 3/4? Okay, good. All right, last thing we need to talk about is independent and dependent events. I want you to start by reading the scenario. Read the scenario, and I want you to tell me, are these events independent or dependent? All right, so what do you think? Independent or dependent? Independent or dependent? What do you think? That doesn't sound like a very confident answer. You choose one and you do not replace it. That's your key. If you don't put it back, you are now directly impacting the next outcome, the next result. That's dependent. These are dependent. Because they're dependent, I calculate the probability a little different. The first probability is the same, but the second probability, what happens to my total?
You take 1.
It's lowered by 1 because I kept 1 and I did not replace it. So I want you to calculate the probability of selecting black then black again. Probability that you will get both. Black, then black again. Probability of A and B. All right. All right, so what's my probability for black? The first one. What's my probability? 20 over what?
33.
20 over 33. But if I choose one black one on the first selection and I don't put it back, what's my probability for the second selection?
19 over 33.
19 over, nope,
32.
32. Because I now have one less black, and I'm trying to pick black again, and I have one less stone. So now I multiply those fractions together. Go ahead and do that. All right, so when I multiply them, and change to a percentage, okay? Because these fractions are like really just enormous, and you know, it doesn't really make any sense. I would rather see your answer as a percentage. If you write your answer as a fraction, I won't take off for it, but I would rather you see you round to the nearest percentage. All right? I want you to try to calculate white then brown. Have y'all done that yet? Have you done it? All right, give me another minute. All right, so what's the probability of white?
4%.
5 over 33. What's the probability of brown?
7 over 30.
No, because if I pick a white one, there's still just as many brown ones left. So the brown is going to be 8, but what happened to my total? 32. The only time I take one out of the numerator is if I'm trying to pick the same one again. I'm holding in my hand a white one, that doesn't affect the brown total. Does that make sense? Now, if I said white, then brown again, then that third brown, yes, would be one less out of the total and out of the brown total. Does that make sense? All right, and then when I multiply those, I get about 4%. About a 4% chance that I'll pick a white one, keep it, and turn right around and pick a brown one. All right, guys, that wraps up our final exam review. Good luck. You need to watch this exam review on YouTube. Please, please, please watch it, rewatch it, use it to study. And that's it.